Good morning, Alongsiders. How's everyone doing? Thanks to those that are here today and those that are online with us. Let's stand together. We're going to start our time in song. Lord, you know me, and you always will. Oh, you keep me, and you hold me close. Like new mercies in the morning still, you surround me, and all I know, and every hour of every day. Oh, I need you, Lord, and I will never change. Every moment and every way. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Oh, that will never change. You're my fortress, you're my hiding place, you're the shelter where I am safe. You have freed me, you have called me by name, my Redeemer, my saving grace. We sing, and every hour of every day. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Every moment and every way. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Faithful, that's who you are, more than able to care for my heart. Oh Lord, lover and friend, there to the end. You are faithful. Oh, we sing of your faithfulness, God. Faithful, faithful, that's who you are, more than able to care for my heart. Lover and friend, there to the end. You are faithful. Oh God, every hour and every hour of every day. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Every moment and every way. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Oh, that will never change. No, it will not. Faithful, that's who you are, more than able to care for my heart. Lover and friend, there to the end. You are faithful, oh God. We're gonna sing a new song. God of great and mighty wonder, who made the heavens and the earth. You watch my life and never slumber. I put my faith in who you are. And when my days are filled with trouble, the truth is I don't understand. Still I will look up to the mountains. I trust my life into your hands. Lift my eyes, you're where my help comes from. Lift my eyes, you're where my heart belongs. I need your spirit to assist me, to keep me praising when it's hard. Ignite a fire from these embers, true worship from a broken heart. True worship from a broken heart. Lift my eyes, you're where my help comes from. Lift my eyes, you're where my heart belongs. Oh, we lift our eyes to you, Lord. Lift my eyes, you're where my help comes from. Lift my eyes, you're where my heart belongs. And our hope and our peace is in you, Lord. My hope, my peace, everything I need. Jesus, I know it's found in you alone. My joy, my strength, everything I need. Jesus, I know it's found in you alone. My hope, my peace, everything I need. Jesus, I know it's found in you alone. My joy, my strength, and everything I need. Jesus, I know it's found in you alone. Lift my eyes, you're where my help comes from. Lift my eyes, you're where my heart belongs. Oh, we lift our eyes, Lord. Lift my eyes, you're where my help comes from. Lift my eyes, you're where my heart belongs. And all I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper. Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. How I live for the moments where I'm still in your presence. All the noise dies down. Lord, speak to me now. You have all my attention. I will linger and listen. I can't miss a thing. You're the fire in the morning. You're the cool in the evening. The breath in my soul. Oh, the life in my bones. There is no hesitation. In your love and affection is the sweetest of all. Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My heart wants something new, so I surrender all. All I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper. Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. We open our hearts to you, Lord. Open up our heart to you. I open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can. Jesus, have your way in me now. I open up my heart. Oh, we open our hearts to you, Lord. I open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can. Have your way in us. Jesus, have your way in me now. And all I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper. Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. Lord, I want to live within your love, be undone by who you are. And my desire is to know you deeper. Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. Oh Lord, and Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. For those that do not know, my name is Greg. For those that are watching online, it's great to host you here today. We're alongside-ers. We're people that are practicing the way of love through the art of living alongside for the sake of neighbor, creation, and self. And we have distinct rhythms to how we gather, and song is a part of that. And then also entering in this moment of reflection to kind of dive into the story of God and find the places within it that might nurture or speak to us individually as well as us collectively. So it is good to be with you today. So each and every year there is a formation focus, that's what we call it, that we put out. And that the intention of that is really to we just are open to how the journey through the year on this formation focus will speak to us, will help us see ourselves clearly, will form our spiritual life, relationships, so forth and so on. And the formation focus for 2026 is TSTG, which means throw seed and trust God. And that comes out of a simple parable that Jesus tells us in Mark 4:3-8. And the parable, I won't read it, but basically it's about, Jesus tells this parable, this story of a sower that goes out and sows the seed. And what you notice in the parable is the sower really doesn't focus on where the seed necessarily lands. The sower's not concerned, if you will, about where the seed actually hits, because the seed hits on good soil and rocky soil and thorny places. And what we notice about the sower is just generous, just throwing the seed and just trusting the natural process to happen. And we're wanting to talk about the sower's generous heart, and we have the last couple of weeks scattering freely without concern where the seed falls, or controlling the outcomes. And then last week, we talked about the courage of the sower, the faithfulness to scatter, even when you can't see the growth or the fruit of what you've scattered. And today, I'm going to even ask a more basic question. The question is simple: what seed do you have to scatter? What's in your hand? The image of seed is really important to us as alongsiders. We actually have it in our commissioned art, and it talks about just some of the movements of how we seek to live into the world. But what seed do you actually have to scatter? Not what you wish you had, not what someone else has, but what you think, or not even what you think you should have, but what's actually in your hand. So today is about really kind of an honest inventory. It's about naming what God has placed in your hands. It's about the spirituality of enoughness. There's a moment in the early Exodus story that really sets up everything today. It's about Moses, and Moses is standing at the burning bush. I'm sure many of you have heard this story before. And God is calling Moses to go back to Egypt, where he ran from some 40 years earlier. God's asking Moses to go back to Pharaoh's power, back to where he had come from, to lead a slave rebellion, to lead liberation against the most powerful empire on the earth at that time. For the Pharaoh's empire was for far too long causing generational trauma and suffering and misery for the Hebrew people. And Moses says what we might say when God calls us to something impossible. Moses' response to God's invitation or ask of his life is just simple. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I to do something like that? I'm nobody. I'm not qualified. I don't have what this requires. Send somebody else. And every time Moses tries to push this onto someone else, God tells him, it's going to be okay. I will be with you, and I'm going to show you how I will be with you. I will make this happen. I just need you to partner with me. But Moses continues to deflect. And then God asks Moses a really simple question. The question is this: what is that in your hand? What is that in your hand? Moses looks down and says, it's a staff. That's it. A stick, a shepherd's tool. Nothing special, nothing powerful, just what he happened to be holding. What he had been walking with and probably carrying for a while. And God says, that's enough. And then God says, throw it down, throw it on the ground. So Moses throws the staff on the ground, and the staff becomes a snake. And he picks it up again. And that ordinary stick becomes what is known as the staff of God, the instrument through which the Red Sea parts as Moses throws the staff into the water. The staff becomes a staff that, through the Hebrew story, wins battles. It's a staff that Moses is holding up when two others are holding up his arms. This staff becomes the staff that Moses hits the rock and the water flows out. It becomes an image of where and how the people of ancient Israel were liberated. And God didn't give Moses something new. He didn't tell Moses to go to his tent and find something that he thinks will work. He said, what do you have right now in this moment? Look at what's in your hands. Don't overthink it. And that's the thing. The best place to start is what's in your hand. So again, what seed has God actually placed in your hand to scatter? It may not be a staff, but maybe it's a pen. Maybe you have a pen, a paper, and a card that you could write someone an encouragement, a thank you. I'm thinking about you today. Put it in the mail, leave it on the windshield, slip it under a door, because that's seed. You can scatter that seed. Or maybe it's a phone. We're all tied to them. You have a phone in your pocket, your purse, or maybe holding it now. So call or text someone. Check in on someone who's struggling, who's on your mind. Call someone you haven't talked to in months and just say, I was thinking about you. Because that's seed to scatter. Or maybe it's a pot or a pan. You have a stove, ingredients. Maybe not a lot, but something. So cook a meal, make extra. Bring it to somebody. Invite someone over to join you at the table. That's seed to scatter. And maybe it's car keys. You have transportation when someone doesn't. So offer a ride. Drive someone to an appointment. Pick up groceries for someone who can't get out. Drop off a card of encouragement. Ladies did that with me last night for Michelle and I. The car is the seed that scatters mobility and access, care, and dignity. Or maybe it's your prayers. You can pray even if it's messy. Even if you're not sure God is listening or who God is, pray for your neighbor, for the city, for someone who's suffering, because intercession is seed scattered into the darkness. And maybe it's your tears. You feel, you're an empath, you have compassion, you weep with those who weep. So let yourself care. Your empathy is seed to be scattered in a world that sometimes doesn't feel like it has enough of it. So God takes what we have, God uses what we have, when we offer what we have, God takes it and invites us to scatter it. And so ask yourself, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? Honestly, what's in your hand? It might not be on you today, but if you think through that metaphorically, you use that image, think about what is in your hand. What is capable for you today to scatter seed so others can be seen or considered or cared for? We need to talk about something else that's happening in this story that I often think gets overlooked. We have to wonder, is Moses hesitant about going, not only because of fear or insecurity, but maybe he's having to wrestle through the feeling of inadequacy. Because we have to remember that Moses has a past. Moses has a past like all of us have a past. And his past looks like this. 40 years earlier, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, and he looked around to make sure no one was watching, and he killed the man. And then he buried the man in the sand, and buried the body, buried the secret, and he buried the evidence. And when word got out that Moses did this, he runs. And he runs for 40 years. He fled Egypt, he fled Pharaoh, he fled his past, and he became a shepherd in Midian. He was anonymous, he was hidden, trying to forget maybe part of his story. And for 40 years, Moses lived really as a fugitive. And now God shows up in a burning bush and says, I want you to go back. I want you to go back. And think about what that means. Go back to Egypt. I want you to go back to the place of your crimes. Go back to the palace where Pharaoh wants you dead. Go back to your people who know what you did. And I wonder sometimes, as Moses was going back, as eventually he does, did he walk by the place where he buried the body? Did he have to confront the spot in the sand where this violence happened? What did he think about on the journey back? What did he feel? Was he scared the Egyptians would recognize him, arrest him, and maybe execute him? Was he ashamed to face his brothers and his sisters, the Hebrew people, wondering if they would trust him again? The text doesn't tell us any of that. But I think that's why it's so important to imagine yourself in the story, because the story is deeply human. But I imagine for Moses that lingered. I imagine Moses carried that moment with him, the rage, the violence, the burial, the running. I imagine he wondered, how can God use me after what I've done? And here's the stunning thing. God doesn't erase Moses' past. He doesn't say, hey, we're going to pretend that didn't happen. He doesn't demand Moses to be perfect before he can be used. God says, I know who you are. I know what you did, and I'm still calling you back. Because here's what God understands that sometimes we don't always understand. Your past is not your disqualification. It's part of your formation. It's part of you becoming who you are today. And Moses spent a long time in the wilderness after that moment. 40 years he spent as a shepherd, battling his demons, facing himself, learning patience and humility, learning what it means to forgive himself, learning who he was again, learning to lead flocks through barren places. And that prepared him, I believe, to lead a people through the wilderness for 40 more years, as he did with the now freed Israelite people. Moses' experience of violence and injustice, witnessing oppression, and then acting out, maybe acting out wrongly, sure, out of righteous anger, absolutely. Burying up somebody into the sand and then running, that prepared him to confront Pharaoh, to demand liberation, to refuse to let his people stay enslaved to a system that doesn't recognize their humanity. And Moses' experience of running and hiding and starting over, that prepared him, I imagine, to understand exile, to understand displacement, what it feels like to be a stranger in a foreign land. God didn't call Moses despite his past. God called Moses in part because of his past. Not because the violence was good, not because God endorsed what Moses did, but because God works with the whole of who we are, all of our story, even the parts of it that we still have hidden, buried in the sands of our past, the parts that are broken, the parts that we still maybe struggle with shame, the parts that we wish we could bury and keep buried, but sometimes it pops back up into our consciousness. See, here's the thing. It's like a second part of this story. Sometimes you become a generous sower by experiencing generous grace. Moses didn't just lead others to liberation. He experienced his own liberation in the process. When God asks, what's in your hand? God isn't just asking for your service. God is inviting you into your own transformation. The very act of scattering seed, of giving what you have, of showing up, of offering yourself, that act actually heals you. Not because you've earned healing, not because you're performing for God's approval, but because generous grace received becomes generous grace scattered. And in scattering it, you discover just how deep grace really goes. Scattering seed isn't just about helping others, it's about becoming who God made you to be. And sometimes the journey God sends you on, the go back and liberate your people moment, is actually God saying, go back and liberate yourself. Moses thought God was just asking him to free the Hebrews, but God was also freeing Moses, freeing him from any lingering or attached shame, or freeing him from the need or the impulse to hide, freeing him from the belief that his past somehow disqualified his future, freeing him from 40 years of running away from who he was and maybe who he was destined to be. The generous grace Moses experienced, God seeing him, calling him, using him, in despite of everything, that grace turned him into a generous sower. And the more Moses scattered, And you read his story. He scattered, he led, he interceded, he confronted, he loved difficult people. The more he scattered himself as he went back and this story of liberation unfolded, the more that he gave of himself, the more that he himself was healed, and wholeness became a part of his regular story. So when God asks you, what's in your hand? When God interrupts you and says, what's in your hand? God isn't just asking what you can give. God is asking, will you let me heal you through the act of scattering? Because sometimes the seed you throw into the world is the very thing that breaks open the hardened ground in you. And that, my friends, is good news. And that, I believe, is always an invitation that stands before us every day in and through the regular occurrences of our life. What's in my hand? And what am I meant to scatter? And in turn, what is this teaching about me? What is it showing me? What clarity am I receiving as I scatter the seed in my life? Amen? I'm going to invite Dennis to join me here. Every week we gather around the table of the Eucharist, the bread and the cup. And it's in that moment of the Eucharist where we are reminded of how deeply loved we are, how God sees us in and through all life. God has seen us when we've buried things in our past, because sometimes we all play in the sandboxes of our own existence. And I think it's really important that when we come to the table of the bread and the cup, this sacrament that's been handed down generation after generation after generation to those of the faith, it's important when we enter into that moment that we hold the bread and be reminded of how broken we are. Hold the cup and be reminded of how God pours God's self out to repair the places within us. So today, as you come to receive the bread, I want you to do something. I want you to hold that bread in your hand and hear that question that God asks Moses while the bush is burning but not burning up. What is in your hand? What is in your hand? And consider that this simple piece of bread symbolizes or actualizes, depending on your faith tradition, the brokenness of God for you and for me and for us, for the world. And the cup that you hold, that though it has grape juice in it, it symbolizes or actualizes the cost of the cross. And so we invite you to just take time today to come to the table. And over here also there is candles to be lit, to light a candle for somebody that you feel like needs just prayer to be remembered. Maybe that's you. So we have a table with matches and a candle and candles for that to happen as well. So we're going to do this for a little bit. And then we're going to come back and then we're going to engage together. That's one of the last things we do as a community. But for just the next several minutes, I'm going to invite you to come. We usually read a confession, but I'm not going to read the confession today. Hold the bread. What's in your hand? Consider that for your life. Consider God's love, broken and poured out for you and for all creation. Tables are open. Come when you so choose. One way we process what's stirring within us, maybe what stuck out to you through the reflection or just the morning itself, is we enter in this time of engagement. This is where we invite you, if you so choose, to turn to one another, maybe invite people over. Try to keep the group small, maybe 5 or so, not too big. It's just hard to dialogue and discuss. And then we throw up prompts on the screen just to help you if you need it. Prompts like, when you do an honest inventory of your life, what seed has God placed in your hands? Is there something you've been dismissing as too small or too ordinary that God might invite you to scatter? This reflection suggests that sometimes you become a generous sower by experiencing generous grace. And the journey of helping others can become a journey of healing for you. Have you ever experienced that? Or conversely, what healing might God be inviting you into through the act of scattering seed right now? And Moses had to go back to the place of his past, the violence, the shame, the thing he buried in the sand. Is there a place, relationships, or circumstance where you could say, I can't scatter seed there, not after what happened? And what would it look like for you to trust that God wants to work with the whole of who you are, including your brokenness? So one or all of them, however you want to just sit in this season, in this moment of engagement together, we encourage you to do so. This is part of our formation and practice as a community to dialogue and discuss, because wisdom is found in the collective, not just on the platform. So we encourage you to take time now. See each other, invite each other to the table, or turn your chairs to each other and take a moment to engage. Go ahead. All right, all you beautiful people, I'm going to cut in. I want to do everything I can to get you back out into the beautiful weather of Portland. You're welcome. As we say, engagement doesn't stop here. Engagement continues in the week, and the hope is that you'll have encounters or moments or conversations that bring you back to the dialogue that you might have had just now around the table or the group, or even just some of the words that came from the reflection about Moses' life and the experience that he himself went through. And also, I sent out last Monday the engagement questions. I'll send them out again this Monday, just so that you have them, so you can continue to reflect on them if you want. Or maybe you want to touch base with some of the people you're around tables with or in a group with and say, hey, how you doing this week? What have you thought about this question that Greg sent in email? And if you're not on our email, there's a little white card on your tables or chairs, and there's a little QR code. And if you open up your phone, which most of us have this capability, go ahead and scan that QR code, and you'll see a list of all of the activities and of Alongsiders, specifically how to sign up for the email list. So I just want to make sure you are reminded of that. Speaking of a couple of things that are coming our way, John's going to take us through a few slides. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page. If you have a baby here in the room, and I'm not talking about your spouse or partner that acts like a baby, I'm talking about an actual small newborn. Baby dedication is Sunday, March 15th. So if you're interested in that, on that QR code, once again, that I mentioned on the white card, you want to sign up and let us know, hey, I am interested in baby dedication on Sunday, March 15th. Next slide, my friend. Water baptism. If you have yet to enter into the waters of baptism, March 29th, that's Palm Sunday, we will fill up the hot tub and have a party and put you under that water for an extended period of time and celebrate that. So if you've never done that, you can also use that QR code on the white card to sign up for that because that's coming. And we want to make sure you guys know what the sacrament of water baptism is. So there's a 45-minute kind of info gathering about that. So I wanted you to be aware. Also, this coming Friday, all of the guys in the room, I'm going to be hosting a guys get-together at the house. So I would love to see you there. Please let me know if you are interested in that. This Friday, I think it's like I think it's 6:30 or 7, John? Can you see that slide? 7? 6:30. So we'll food and stuff like that. So let me know. Love to see you there. Kicking off a year together, guys together, get together. Thank you for that, John. In the back at the house. So let me know if you are interested in that. I think that's a few things. That's it, John, huh? Yeah, I just want to thank John. He was working all the production side of today because Sai's not here. So poor guy in the back. I love you, John. Thank you so much for all of that. Anyway, it's good to be with you each and every week. Love you dearly, Alongsiders and friends. Thanks for joining us. If you're a newer face or you've been here just for a few times, great that you are here. Everybody online, enjoy your week. Let's all stand together. Love each other as you leave today. May the peace of God be your companion through the day, the week. Throw seed, trust God this year, and we'll see you hopefully very soon, everybody. Love each other as you leave. Bye.